Hello everyone, I'm Chris, and this is a full recap of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, released in 2022. If you end up enjoying this video and want to see more from us, then make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to know anytime we upload a new video. 2 years following the release of Sonic the Hedgehog's theatrical debut in 2020, the character added yet another success project to its catalog with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which ended up being an even bigger hit with audiences than the first film, bringing in $405 million worldwide at the box office, over $100 million more than the previous installment, and ranking 14th in the highest grossing movies of 2022. These back-to-back financial successes now leads us to 2024, where the franchise will be adding 2 more installments, including Sonic the Hedgehog 3 releasing this December, and Knuckles Season 1, so we've decided to take a look back at and run down everything that took place in Sonic's 1 and 2, starting with our last video, which you can check out if you haven't already, with the first link in the description below, and continuing on today with our rundown of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The movie opens on the Eggman Dr. Robotnik's 243rd day on the Mushroom Planet, as he's now finally ready to execute his plan of escape, which sees him creating an energy beacon using components from his destroyed egg pod and Sonic's quill in hopes that someone will come to investigate the signal. And eventually that night, he's met by a group of alien scavengers arriving through a ring portal, each of whom are quickly taken out by the Doctor before he attempts to make his long-awaited escape through their portal. But he's instead suddenly stopped in his tracks by a red echidna of the tribe that presumably killed Sonic's adoptive mother Longclaw named Knuckles, who questions where Robotnik found the quill, and he reveals that he'd obtained it from Sonic on Earth, to which he also offers to show Knuckles the way. Speaking of Earth, we're next dropped in Seattle, where we see Sonic in the midst of intercepting a group of bank robbers who'd hijacked an armored truck. And although he eventually manages to stop them, his pursuit also leaves an entire block destroyed. Sonic's not too worried about the damage he'd inadvertently caused though, and declares the city to have been saved by Blue Justice. The following day, back in Green Hills, Tom quickly becomes aware of Sonic's nighttime escapade via the newspaper, and so confronts Sonic about the destruction he'd caused, scolding him for being reckless and putting people in danger, which Sonic doesn't appreciate, feeling as though he did the right thing and that he can take care of himself. But Tom explains that being a hero is about more than that, as a hero also needs to take responsibility for other people. Moving ahead to the next day now, as Tom and Maddie prepare to head off for a trip to Hawaii to attend Maddie's sister Rachel's wedding with her fiancé Randall. And for this trip, rather than having to take a plane, Sonic uses a ring portal to get them there, and also gives them a ring so they can travel back home. Immediately following their exit, Sonic takes full advantage of having the house to himself, partying all throughout, along with their dog Ozzy, until his fun is suddenly interrupted by the return of Dr. Robotnik at his doorstep, now more powerful than ever with Knuckles by his side, who promptly unleashes an attack on Sonic, pummeling him repeatedly into the ground whilst demanding to know where he'd hidden the ultimate power, which leaves Sonic confused, claiming he's got the wrong guy. But still, Knuckles looks to land a fatal blow until he's fortunately stopped by a cop car crashing directly into him, driven by a yellow two-tailed fox named Tails, who we saw previously arriving in Green Hills hoping to warn Sonic of Knuckles' arrival, and who now scoops him up and helps him escape from the 2 villains. Once they're off their trail, Tails reveals who Knuckles is to Sonic, explaining that he's the last of the echidnas and the most dangerous warrior in the galaxy, obsessed with finding the Master Emerald, an unstoppable weapon capable of turning thoughts into reality, created by the echidnas using the 7 Chaos Emeralds, which he believes Sonic is the key to finding. With Knuckles and Robotnik hunting him down, Sonic decides to hide out with Tails at Wade Whipple's house, and there, he remembers seeing an emerald symbol on the map Longclaw gave him when he was a boy. So he opens it up to take a look, causing the map to suddenly begin glowing as a hologram of Longclaw emerges from it, in which she explains that protecting the emerald was her sacred duty that she must now pass on to Sonic, and reveals that she's hidden the emerald on Earth, which they must follow the map in order to find. So Sonic and Tails begin their quest to find the emerald, starting in Siberia, where the map says they'll find a compass that'll lead them to it. But they're quickly forced to take a break mid-trip due to a powerful snowstorm, so they wind down in a restaurant, and there, Sonic asks about all of Tails' gadgets, each of which Tails reveals he'd created himself, explaining that, growing up, he didn't have many friends and was bullied for his 2 tails, so he decided to spend his time creating devices like the one that helped him locate Sonic called the Miles Electric, a personalized multifunctional handheld computer, which first detected Sonic back when he let out that huge blast on the baseball field, allowing Tails to watch as Sonic took down Robotnik and saved the people of Green Hills, which he claims is what later motivated him to come to Earth and warn Sonic of Knuckles' arrival. Once the storms cleared up the following day, the 2 head back out on their quest and eventually find the location and gain possession of the compass, although before they can use it to find the emerald itself, they're attacked once again by Robotnik and Knuckles, with the former chasing after them with his weaponized drones before Knuckles manages to knock Sonic out of the air and takes this opportunity to blame Sonic for him having lost everything, revealing that when he was young, his tribe was on the verge of its greatest victory, as the last of the Owl Warriors had been located. But although he wanted to take part in the achievement, his father stopped him from joining the fight, claiming his moment to honor their tribe would come, but not at this moment. And sadly, that was the last time he'd see his father. Sonic sympathizes with Knuckles and claims they both lost everything that day, causing Knuckles to let his guard down and allowing Tails to shoot him with electric wire ropes, an attack that Knuckles perceives as a betrayal of his trust by Sonic, but Sonic insists he wasn't trying to trick him. Still, Knuckles prepares to attack, so Sonic attempts to throw the compass to Tails so he can escape with it, but it's instead intercepted by Robotnik, who then shoots a rocket at Tails that sends him crashing to the ground and knocks him unconscious. Robotnik and Knuckles then escape as Sonic attempts to resuscitate Tails, but that's interrupted when an avalanche occurs, forcing Sonic to scoop Tails up and with no other way to escape, call Tom in the middle of Rachel and Randall's wedding ceremony so that he can open a portal using the ring he'd given him earlier and help them avoid being engulfed. Sonic then attempts to explain all of what's happened, but he's suddenly interrupted when he's shot and knocked out by an electric net, fired by Commander Walters of the United States Armed Forces in the Pentagon, who he'd met in the previous film when he'd convinced the US government to hire Dr. Robotnik, and who now reveals that following the events in San Francisco, a global task force was created to protect the planet from alien threats called the Guardian Units of Nations, aka GUN. And it's also revealed that everyone involved in Rachel's wedding, including Randall, is an undercover agent of the US military, as the ceremony had been staged in an attempt to capture Sonic. Having succeeded in their mission, the agents load him and Tails into cages and arrest Tom for aiding and abetting an uncontrolled extraterrestrial. But the agents don't realize that they'd left behind Tails' backpack full of gadgets, which is then found by JoJo and given to her mother and Maddie, enabling the latter to take the agents down en route to freeing the trio, while Rachel takes some of the gadgets as well as a golf cart to hunt down Randall. After trying to run him over though, he's able to stop any further attack by apologizing for deceiving her, and revealing that he truly has fallen in love with her, so the two make amends and share a kiss. Back to Sonic now, who with Tails still knocked unconscious, decides to go off on his own to intercept Robotnik and Knuckles before they can claim the Master Emerald, and upon encountering them once again, he engages in yet another brawl with Knuckles, which inadvertently gives Robotnik the perfect opportunity to betray his partner and claim the power of the Emerald for himself, before then using its power to teleport back to Green Hills as the labyrinth where the Emerald had been kept begins collapsing and flooding with water, leaving Knuckles trapped beneath a column and nearly drowning to death. But he's fortunately saved by Sonic, who once having freed Knuckles, then nearly also drowns as well due to him not being able to swim. But Knuckles immediately returns the favor and brings him back up to the surface with him. When Sonic regains consciousness, Knuckles asks how, after losing everything and failing over and over again, does he remain hopeful and free? And Sonic says it's thanks to him having found a new family and new friends, and he urges Knuckles to try and do the same. The two are then joined and picked up by Tails, who flies them over to Green Hills and brings them before Robotnik's giant Eggman robot, created using the Emerald. And the three decide to work together to take him down. Despite their best efforts though, they struggle greatly to overpower Robotnik and his creation, with Sonic being sent crashing to the ground by a snot rocket blast, but eventually, Tails and Knuckles manage to break into the giant robot, and after a distraction by Tails that sees him creating multiple holograms of himself, Knuckles is able to punch the Emerald out of Eggman, which in turn results in the giant robot crashing to the ground, along with the Emerald. A heavily injured Sonic then crawls his way over to the Emerald, but although gaining possession of it, he's unable to activate its power for himself, as it suddenly shatters, leaving the 7 Chaos Emeralds separated once again. So with all hope seemingly lost, Sonic, Tom, and Maddie share an embrace as Robotnik, with his giant robot back up and running, goes to finish them with a huge stomp. But just then, the 7 Chaos Emeralds levitate and merge with Sonic, giving him a new golden color and allowing him to block the blow. And with his newfound power, he then swiftly decapitates and destroys the robot, sending it and Robotnik once again crashing to the ground, this time to his presumed death. Following the victory, Sonic meets back up with Tom, Maddie, Tails, and Knuckles, and decides to relinquish his new power and return to his original form, feeling that he still has some growing up to do, and for now, just wants to continue being a kid. So Knuckles reforms the Master Emerald, which Tails and Sonic suggest they use to start a new order of heroes to protect the galaxy from those who would use the Emerald for evil, to which Knuckles agrees, with the three sharing a power bump and promising to keep the universe safe and to watch out for each other. We then move ahead to the following day as the three heroes, Tom and Maddie, take part in a baseball game, which quickly comes to an end when Knuckles punches the ball completely out of the field, and so the movie ends with him heading off for some celebratory ice cream. In a mid-credits scene, we meet back up with Commander Walters, who's no longer seeking to capture Sonic or his friends as he and other gun agents search amongst the ruins of the giant Eggman robot, and are unable to find any sign of Dr. Robotnik, although Walters isn't worried about that, believing no one could have survived that fall. But that may not be the case, as we see Agent Stone mysteriously disguised as a gun soldier. Walters is then informed by his agent that when removing Robotnik from their databases, they'd found a file buried deep in their system dating back over 50 years, containing coordinates to a secret research facility that Walters recognizes as Project Shadow, and were then taken to this remote facility as a black and red hedgehog awakens. And that was our recap of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, let us know in the comments below which of the first two Sonic films you liked best, and how excited you are for the release of Knuckles in Sonic 3. But once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.